Hi everybody, and welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. Today's video is all about a trading challenge. We're going to be doing a provisional trading challenge of around $1,000, and we're going to, in two trades, show the possibilities using the total free, excluding the stablecoins chart. And the basic premise is that I think we're going to get something like this on the total free, excluding the stablecoins, to the upside. So I'm looking to try and capitalize on this move and the chop in between that to try and outline two trades, two high RR trades that I've seen set up on Fetch AI. And I'm going to be using those trades to try and compound an initial $1,000 provisional amount into over $30,000 by risking a very small amount, but just by planning out a couple of trades using this chart. So what I'm going to do is just start out by analysing the total free excluding the stablecoins chart. And the basic premise, guys, is that I think we've got right now on our Fibonacci channel that we love to use, I would love to see a hit down into that high 200 billion region, more specifically around the 280 to 287 billion region that we outlined a couple of months ago. As you see here, that would be a very classic expanding flat correction, but I think we may pop up to the upside, come down, and then move up and pop to the upside. So using this chart and what we expect on the total free chart here, we have to be able to look at some altcoins that are high beta. If we want to be able to capitalize on some big moves, we need to look at the high beta altcoins. And one of the best altcoins that I like to look at is actually Fetch. So we'll move to the big screen here. Fetch AI, I think we're in a position where we're coming into a formation now where we're going to get some kind of 50% move, something like that. And we've got a couple of different levels to be able to trade that. And in addition, if we do get that small pump to the upside here, that could provide the move for a 50% move on Fetch. The move back down could also lead us into that one new low for us to be able to rampage on into an actual big move back to the upside. So the whole formation would look a little like this. And just zooming out, you see we've got a very long lasting trend line all the way from 2020, 2022, and now we're coming into our what we hope to be our first little small deviation below that trend line, which I would imagine there is a lot of liquidity below this trend line. A lot of people are going to start trading this. So what I always like to see, guys, is below a big wick like this, some kind of 7 or 8% move to the downside. So if we just measure that 7 or 8% move to the downside, you see that takes Fetch to around 11 cent. So right here, I would be looking to enter trades, as I've shown here, at around 11 cent 25. So I'm going to have the entry of the first trade at around 11 cent 25. And we'll just put that as a green line there. And I'm going to have the stop loss in and around the 10.5 cent region. So that gives us a scope of around about 4 or 5% to the downside. Now, if we are going to enter a $1,000 trade here, what I would be looking at is on Fetch in and around the 11.2, the 11.3 cent region, more specifically the 11.25 region, is a $999 trade, which is essentially a $1,000 trade, with a 5x leverage position here, with our stop loss in and around the 10.5 cent region, would give us a maximum drawdown of around 20 to 25%. So we are essentially risking $250 here for a potential gain of around $2,200. A very nice risk to reward, but risk to reward is not all it takes. I've seen this set up many times where we fall below a big long lasting wick range by about 7 or 8%. So using the combination of a high beta altcoin, using the confluence of the total market cap of what I think may happen, and also the fact that fetch moves very, very fast, and that we've got a high confluence setup. This is a setup I would really like to see move back to the upside with our take profit, which would be around 16.37. So that would give us around a 50% move to the upside with leverage, and a profit of around 227%. So total P&L be around 2,275, which I think is very reasonable for this kind of setup. In which case we'd be looking to exit the full amount, and then we'd be looking to enter the full amount of the next trade on fetch in and around the 9 cent region. So what I think this does on a higher time frame is not only do we get the small manipulation below the long-lasting trend line and a nice move to the upside, we also at this point have shorts start to close out, and that one more low come back into fruition. A classic market maker schematic here on an altcoin like Fetch would give us a nice move back down of around 40 to 45%. Now let's take a look at what we'd get here on the total free, excluding stables, around a minus 30, minus 34%. So absolutely, with a high beta altcoin like Fetch, we could definitely see that fall from the high of around 40-45%. I think that absolutely makes sense. So I think, guys, if we're looking for a trade in and around the next regions, we'll just get these levels marked off. We'll be looking to put in the full amount of $2,200 into the next trade, and the next trade will be an entry point of around 9.5 cents, and our stop loss would be down in and around 8.2. So 9.5 cent entry here with our just under full amount of the trade at a 3x leverage position. If we are looking to trade this back up to what might seem an extravagant level right now, guys, but back to around the 60 cent level for Fetch, we're looking to try and enter a leverage trade here and capitalize on this big move to the upside, which is what we see happening on the total free excluding stablecoins chart as well. So this whole move right here, with a little bit of chop and a little bit of negotiating to happen in and around this bottom, we're really trying to capitalize here and manage risk, but also manage the opportunities that present themselves in the market. There's absolutely tons of opportunities in the market like this, because I've seen so many setups like this in the past just play out. So in my opinion, we're in a stage of the market cycle where we cannot be ignoring these types of setups. These are once in every 3 or 4 year setups, so we really have to dial in our concentration here and really have the opportunity and have our level head in mind on, and not forget that what the market has done over the last few years is wipe out leverage positions, wipe out after wipe out after wipe out. It's been relentless, but now people do not trust leverage positions, which is exactly when you should be starting to trust leverage positions. Now, I'm not a big advocate of leverage, but when we see setups like this and opportunities like this where we can potentially turn one or two couple of trades into from a small amount to a high amount, I absolutely have to start making the content about these setups. So we're going to look for an entry on the next trade on Fetch, and we're going to put in pretty much the full amount in and around 9.5 cents. We will have our stop loss in and around the 8 cent region, which at a 3x leverage position there with the full amount, $2,150, gives us a maximum drawdown there of around 45/40%. So we will be risking around just under $1,000 on this trade, which would be pretty much the profit and a little bit more, well, less profit than the first trade. We'll be risking less profit on from the first trade on this second trade. So no matter what, if the first trade comes in, we will be risk free, and we can start to really analyze the moonshot, which I think, I think we've got a very, very serious contention here for a move like this on many altcoins. So If you're not a fan of Fetch, or if you've not been looking at Fetch and you've got a couple of altcoins that you're keeping your eye on and you want to try and play the trades like this, we absolutely can start to analyze and get ready for these moonshots, because they do happen. We're at a moment where everybody believes that these moonshots will not happen. So essentially we're risking there just under $1,000 on this trade for a potential gain of around $30,000 to $33,000, give or take a little bit, because the take profit would be in and around 60 cent, and we would be using our pretty much full profit from the first trade. So this setup right now that I see on many altcoins, we have to try and take advantage of. Now, these are just provisional numbers of a $1,000 trade. These numbers can be changed. Not everyone has the $1,000 to trade. Some people it might be more, some people it may be less, but this is a major opportunity in the market, in my opinion, to really start analysing, getting ready for some of these moves. Now, some of the targets might not get hit and the market might move without us, but that is why you essentially have 80 to 90% of your portfolio as a spot portfolio, and 10% of your trading, potentially futures trading and cross leverage, that kind of thing. So yeah, if you've got profits and you've got the money to that you're willing to risk, you really can start to turn a small amount into a large amount in just a couple of trades if we start to see these types of setups. So I hope I've given you everything that you need here. We're not going crazy on leverage. All I'm talking about is a 5 or a 3x leverage move, without having to risk too much of the portfolio. So high RR trades, good setups in my opinion. I've seen these setups play out many times. We've got the confluence for the total free, excluding the stable coins here, for the chop that I think might happen, for the move back to the upside. And of course, heading into the future, I do believe we'll head way higher. But with these types of trades, we're talking about a 50% move and then a 500% move. We don't need much more than that in terms of combining two trades to really start to benefit from a small amount being turned into a large amount. And all it takes is 1 or 2 trades with good risk management to actually really turn a small amount into a large amount. It's just if you've got the nerve and you've got the patience to be able to do it. Can we wait for these levels to be hit? Have you got the mental strength to be able to take those profits and put them back in? Now, that's totally down to you. The amounts are totally down to you. All I can do here is guide you into seeing a couple of different setups, a combination, a compounding trade here on something like Fetch. Now, you can use any altcoin with this type of setup that you see, but I have seen many times that the range deviation below by about 7%, 7 to 8% will lead to a nice 50% bounce. Then we'll go in for one more low where the wick to wick trend line comes to fruition, and then we go for the moonshot. So absolutely, this is something I can see happening, and this is just a little strategy on how to benefit from this potential chop that we see in confluence with the total free, excluding stable coins chart. So if you need a little recap, those are the trades. Get your stop losses set and manage risk proportionally to what you're putting in. We're not risking over 25% on the first trade. The second trade will be risking 40% if it comes to fruition, but that will simply be profits from the first trade no matter what. So essentially we are risking $200 to $300 here for a potential gain of around $30,000. Now, to me that sounds great, and I will be playing along in my own way, exactly how I've said I'm going to on here. So if anyone else wants to join along in this trading challenge, feel free to do so. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do here, but absolutely this is a major opportunity on many altcoins. So don't take your eye off the ball. We're in a moment where everyone's left market bottoming, and in 2027 and 2028 you'll probably find yourself sticking around. It's a tough psychological market, and if it's your first, second cycle, you do have a lot to learn. But every single cycle we're learning. I don't know it all. I just try and manage risk every single cycle to keep myself in the game. So this is a Fetch AI video. You can use it for any altcoin. I've given you the entries, the stop losses, the risk, and that is pretty much all you need. So sit back, relax, let the market do the work. If you like this style of video, let me know in the comments. Give it a like, subscribe if you're not already. Take it easy, and I will see you next time.